Good afternoon, and welcome back to Expansion of Consciousness. I'm your host, Jason Medlock. Well, we have another wonderful, wonderful um, guest coming on tonight. And what can I say? Psychic medium, energy healer, certified hypnotherapist, probably a number of other modalities as well. Seph Dietlin is a person that has done it all, but that has the ability to connect at a higher level, to bring forth healing, to also make those energetic connections with maybe a past loved one who has moved on to the spiritual realm, or maybe listening for a message and helping you understand how to feel messages. Because we feel with our psychic abilities. It's about feeling. It's not about you always seeing something or sitting on your porch talking to quote unquote a ghost, but a lot of messages come from feeling, and it comes from how well you quieten yourself. How well inside can you differentiate between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind? Practicing meditation so that you can reach that level of transcendence, the peace, the quiet, so that you can receive the message. So Seph Dietlin is here, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell you a little bit about this fabulous man. Seph is a human potential activator and a thought leader. He is conscious. I mean, very, very conscious, professional filmmaker and content creator, and a certified hypnotherapist, an angel psychic medium, and also an energetic healer. He's the author of Ascension with the Angel Tarot. He facilitates courses and events designed to empower others to access higher levels of consciousness, awareness, through communication with their angels and the other quantum field intelligence. As an angel communicator himself, Seph's message focuses on the revelations and guidance for humanity in heralding the new earth, a collective conscious revolution, and the transformational process that humanity is currently experiencing. Just the fact that Seph is very, very deep in his opinions and deep in his knowledge and his understanding of the modalities that he works in makes this is going to be a special night for us. So without any further ado, I'll go ahead and bring Seph on. Hello, Seph. How you doing?
Thank you for having me, Jason. It's great to meet you, and it's great to be here. And I am looking forward to this next little bit of time where we can blow the minds of your audience with some of these amazing revelations. And I want to start first by blowing the audience mind in and allowing us to realize that this pursuit of expansion of consciousness is exactly the entree to the new earth and the new reality that we're meant to live in. And we will be seeing remarkable progress of an entirely different reality, not only for ourselves personally, but collectively as well. And these conversations have such value and such weight at this time because they really illuminate information that is not necessarily in the mainstream, and that's purposeful or with intent, but it's illuminating conversations that aren't necessarily in the mainstream, but conversations that actually bring us to this space. So I'm really pleased to be here with your audience and to be able to share these messages and discoveries.
And the messages that we receive, the communication, the feelings, the conversations that go on in our head, and we have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us don't on what's going on.
Exactly.
know it's not in the mainstream, and you gotta wonder why. And there's so many Americans and so many people all over the world who experience phenomena, who experience what we practice, metaphysics. And they experience these gateways for moments in their back, like, oh, wait a minute, where did I go? Astral travel, all the wonderful infinite abilities we possess from within. So that's just a piggyback off of what you said.
Yes.
And I'm definitely here for it. And I'm here to ask you a lot of questions so that we can get answers, and so that the audience can understand these conversations, and understand who to use, who to work with. A coach like you, or I'm a coach as well. There are other psychic mediums, and there have been other metaphysical experts that have been on the show. And I like to bring these people on together so that the audience gets a chance to see all of us, because you know what? The information that you have is not proprietary. The information that
No.
I have, it's not proprietary. We
No,
all
no.
have these abilities, Seth. What
Yeah.
do you
No,
say to that?
yeah. Well, first of all, and this might be jumping ahead of the conversation a little bit, but 20 years ago, when I first started communicating with the angels, um, one of the things that they said is that all of us, they call us Team Global Ascension.
Mhm.
And they had indicated 20 years ago that this wasn't about my work. In fact, my work isn't even my work at all. I
No.
hand it over completely to the quantum field of intelligence and the celestial beings that reside in that realm, such as our, guardian angels, our angels, and the archangels. And one of the things that they had revealed to me early on was they showed me a vision of us all working together to be able to reach humanity at this time. And here we are doing it right now. So I remember, as if it were just literally a few moments ago, that seeing this vision of of us, of all of us working together. And it's not like in what happens in the corporate world, where this company does one thing and it's in competition or anything like that. Not at all. It's so exponential, the work that we do. And I love, I myself do projects where I connect and unite and give a platform for message for conscious luminaries as well, because this is what it's all at. This is all of us working as a team and reaching as many humans as possible in this ascension of conscious revolution.
So tell me, and we don't have to go so far back in your, telling us about yourself, but tell me when the connection started with you understanding that, hey, I'm receiving messages and I can deliver messages to angels, spirit guides, um, you know, source. When
Yeah.
did all this happen for you?
Yeah, well, that's funny, Jason, because when the first time it happened and I had the experience with the angels, I was like, oh man, I'm never going to be able to tell
Right.
anyone about this. And here I am on a podcast telling lots of people about it, right? So that's the funny part, Jason, is that you never know what you know until you know it, and then you know it, right? So there's a little bit of a mind twister, but ultimately, this is 2 decades ago. I had a huge personal setback. And, at that particular time, I was a very successful real estate agent in Southern California. So to say that I was pretty much focused on the material part of life would have been an understatement, right?
Right.
And so, especially living in Southern California, which does have a rightful reputation for being, a bit of a bit materialistic.
Hmm.
And I was definitely in that realm. I had a heart, but I wasn't heartless at all in that time. But through a huge personal setback, I initially found myself turning to God, having not actually spoken to that one in a long time. And I asked if I could be removed or extricated or whatever. I didn't want to be here anymore because I couldn't see the point. And that when I realized that wish was not going to be granted, I said, "All right, then then this is what I'm going to ask for. If I got guardian angels, they're not doing a very good job. I want to see them. I want to know them. I want to talk to them. I don't want to just know that they're there. If they're there to guide me, I need to hear their guidance. And all of a sudden, I felt something touch me and speak to me from within. I felt overcome with a sense of peace. And I heard a message that said, Seph, everything is not just going to be okay, it's going to be better than okay. Well, the next day, I thought, well, that was strange. I don't know if I dreamed that or if it really happened. And the minute I said that, I heard something inside say, hello. And that's when I began to hear them speak to me through that faculty. And I, I definitely was enamored by being able to hear that. So I started conversations with them and started asking questions. They started telling me things that would happen. They would tell me, I'd get up in the morning and they would tell me something was going to happen, and then it did. So I knew it was them. And then one day, for example, they guided me to, after I came home from an open house, they said, go to Disneyland, which was very close to my house, about 20 minutes away. And I just got on the freeway and I drove there. And there was a woman stranded on the exit ramp, and I was able to help her, get off the exit ramp because she had no phone or anything like that. And later the woman said, thanks to you, I believe in angels again. But the angels told me to go there, and they didn't tell me what I was going there for. But I ended up finding out when I got there, and I loved playing this game with the angels. So ultimately, through their discussion, when we established the ability to communicate with each other in this sort of almost friendship way or companionship way, definitely companionship way, they started to reveal to me that things are going to change very dramatically on this earth, and that I would lose everything that I have to answer a calling to assist in this period. And when they revealed that to me, I was like, okay, this sounds like an adventure. I'm down. It sounds like what I'm meant to do. And ultimately, when the real estate market collapsed in 2006 in Orange County, and then I think 2008 in the rest of the country, is where we sort of label that bubble in the timeline. I knew that something was coming because they told me I was about to lose everything, and that was the catalyst for that. During the real estate market crisis, I lost everything, my business, my house, and it set me into this personal transformation where I would
Hmm.
discover more about the new earth and about the
The
process of
5D,
us.
the
Yeah. What's
5D,
that?
the
The what?
5D Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And so, and what's, just for clarity purposes, the angels say that 5D earth that we're talking about, it's the real one that is here. The one that we think are living in is pure illusion, which is why that is disintegrating right now. Think of like when you wake up from a dream and the dream starts to wipe away from your mind. And that's what's happening to us consciously right now, which is why our work is so important, the way that we understand it. And that's where the hypnotherapy came in as well, because they guided me to some hypnotherapy, and I discovered some amazing aspects of how it gave us easy access to our heightened state of consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so the way I usually start to explain hypnotherapy, as you probably know, when people initially come with their questions, they think I'm going to, make them cluck like a chicken or something like that. And it's nothing to do with any of that. It's not mind control at all. And where I usually start people in that journey is with the familiarization of the term mesmerized, which means when we're in a trance-like state. Well, that comes from Dr. Franz Mesmer, who had a theory of what he called animal magnetism, and he was from Germany in the mid to late 1700s to early 1800s. And he was a medical doctor, and he felt that by connecting his patients to the field of connectivity, what we call the quantum field now, he called it animal magnetism, that if we connect people who aren't well to this field, that created the body can heal the body. And he had great success at that. He had a great following. And it was Dr. James Braid from Scotland who gave us the term hypnotism to have terminology to refer to this modality of connecting us back into the field of intelligence, the field of the quantum field of intelligence, to actually affect great healing. And so it all connects, all the dots connect: the angels, the quantum realm, the ascension, hypnosis, or some people just call it a quantum healing technique, just so that they're just so that they can avoid the stigma of hypnosis, just because there is a bit of that, but there shouldn't be. Hypnosis is an amazing thing. It's what we want. We want connectivity to the source.
I like hypnosis. I am a QHHT practitioner,
Oh,
so hypnosis is very, very good, and I use it on clients as we
mm-hmm,
speak today.
mm-hmm,
But the deepeners and the introductions, just they don't get you as deep as quantum healing, and I do them both quite frequently. I like both of them because they're both able to get the job done. But there's something about when you move a client into the theta state, but then you can move them to the somnambulistic state. And the only thing that's keeping them awake is your voice. And they're not asleep, but you are sustaining that. But when you talked about self, being able to experience the brilliance of the higher self, the
mm-hmm,
subconscious mind, the unconscious mind, however you call it, when you're able to experience that level of brilliance in conversation, and you've recorded that session, you have it on video and audio, and the client is
mm-hmm,
listening to it, and they're saying, Who is that talking?
right. Mm-hmm,
Who in the crap is that, Jason?" I said, "Well, that's your higher self, the intelligence that lives within you." And I've often called it Christ consciousness. And I know it's
mm-hmm,
the quantum field, but I've called it Christ consciousness because that's who created the quantum field, the source.
right. Mm-hmm,
And it's amazing, Seth. It's amazing when you're able to ask these questions that they bring in, the client, and the responses you get in the level of response is absolutely amazing because you know that client, and this is not any offense to the client, but when you interview that person for 2 hours or an hour, however long you interviewed them, just so you can get them comfortable, you know the level that they're at. And to
mm-hmm.
hear the level that of audible that's coming from their mouth while they're in trance, and I know you've experienced this, it's
Yeah.
just absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned QHHT, so I know you would enjoy this. All of what ascertained about this new earth ascension, this conscious expansion movement in the collective of humanity, all of this I got from the angels when it wasn't even fashionable, over the last 20 years. This was a very, very irrelevant conversation until 2020. And we all know that there's an event that took place in 2020 that made people stop and pause and realize that there's something bigger than what they realized happening in this world right now.
Mhm.
And that was one of the benefits of all of that period, is when that started, the angels said, do not refer to this as the name that the media is giving it, that word that starts with a P and
Mhm.
rhymes with mandemic. They said, in fact, what we want you to do is call this an ascension portal, because that's what it is. And I have noticed that absolutely that is exactly what's taken place, is the amount of people who've become spiritually activated in that amount of time is amazing. So here I've been carrying this information that seemed irrelevant. And of course, there's a lot of people along the way who would say, "Oh, that's not going to happen in my lifetime." I said, it's got to, because here are angels speaking to so many people who can hear them, wanting to actually start to do work that's related to preparing humanity for this. So it's not something that's going to happen in 10 or 20 or 100 years or 1,000 years from now. And people would say, well, the people who are in power won't let that happen. I'm like, they don't have a choice. They're not the source. So interestingly enough, later on, as few as maybe 2 years ago, I discovered Dolores Cannon,
Mm.
which you do QHHT. I know you've heard of her. Amazing pioneer, of using hypnotherapy to access that higher conscious states. And
Mm.
she wrote her books about the new earth and the wave of volunteers, and the concepts that she got from her subjects are exactly the same thing that I got from the angels. And it's interesting because
Oh, you sound like Dolores.
well,
Yeah, I know, and I
that's
know that you've been doing it like on your own, and you've had your own experiences,
right.
but they're the same thing. I mean, I'm enjoying this. Let
Well,
me
so
stop stopping you. But no, you sound just like Dolores Cannon.
well, it's funny that you say that because 3 days after discovering her work, which is great, I know that it happened that way because discovering her work was validating. I appreciated the fact that it came directly from the angels instead of reading a book. So I appreciate the fact that this information came to me in that
Yes,
way, and
yes,
that Dolores's work, because all these years I hadn't
well
experienced her
documented.
work. Yeah, and then 3 days later, she, of course, she's transitioned. She comes to me in a dream and she says, "I'm watching over you because you're doing the work that I was doing with this ascension and such." And so she comes up a lot. She comes up a lot. And so I do understand that I'm a bit like carrying the torch for her. We all are, because remember, we referred to being sort of part of a team of light workers that I call conscious luminaries. But she comes to me often in dreams and guides me and reveals things to me. And it was after I discovered her work at just that time. And so connecting the dots, especially with the quantum healing technique, which is access to the quantum realm, access to the angels is the same thing. So whether I go into a sort of theta brainwave state to access the angels to do, let's say, a reading for you, and my readings, when I do them, they're not fortune telling readings, they're healing readings. And they also, the angels bring in a transmission of energy. So if you notice lately, I'm sure you've noticed this lately, because with all of the new frequencies that are here, we get to start having these conversations or get to partake in this. And we start to feel consciously high because of the levels of expansion that we can go to right now. And I love having these conversations with people where we say, let's get consciously drunk. And what that means is that we just get into such an expanded state that we
So,
move into this heightened state. Yes.
okay, so since we're on the whole hypnosis topic, what is hypnosis for the audience in its relationship to this current condition
Yes.
in our reality?
Yes. See, what ultimately is happening is the world of illusion is being dissolved. It had a purpose. So it isn't some rogue, evil entity in that sense, and not at the higher sense. So the world of illusion is melting away, and we are traveling back to our true identity. And this quantum field, or this state of consciousness, is the mind of the Creator, the mind of God, the mind of the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to use. We are actually one with, and we merge with the mind of the Creator. So
Yes.
when we go into this relaxed state, and just to actually put a frame around this, if I decide to go to the beach, I'm from Southern California. Let's say I go to the beach, or I go to the forests in the Pacific Northwest, or whatever. I walk in and I'm surrounded by nature. Something overtakes me and I go into a heightened state of being. Well, the consciousness that's in nature is connected to the mind of the Creator. And so it's pervasive, and we end up rejoining, in our actual home world, which is consciousness within. And so, what we do when we do a technique of hypnosis or a quantum healing technique, whichever words you're comfortable with, is that we bring the our person into an expanded state of awareness. They themselves connect with the mind of the Creator, or the quantum field. And from that interaction that they have with the mind of the Creator, profound healing will take place. Now, I know that you've had these experiences too. I am often told by the angels, because I bring the angels into my hypnotherapy. So I turn the session over to the angels when I do it. And so I just get guided because I'm a channel. I guide the client through an experience. Oftentimes we meet angels and spirit guides in that state. I remind those that come to me for work that our imagination is, as you know, a lot of times we'll be like, oh, well, that's just my imagination. And then at a separate time, we'll wake up from a dream where we had a profound vision in our imagination. We'll want to know the meaning that our higher self was communicated with to us. And yet at the same time, during hypnosis, we forget that the higher mind or the quantum field utilizes our faculty of imagination to speak with us and to guide us on a healing journey all the time.
Mm.
That is the purpose of imagination. And it has been warped in its usage here, and perhaps purposely so by the powers that soon will not be, to make sure that we didn't have access to, the mind of the creator. And at any rate, what happens in there is individual for each person. I've had people go in to heal something, and a relative who has crossed over will come into the session and start to do healing work on them.
I,
Angels come in and do this, and people have these profound experiences. And I'm told by the angels when I'm in there, they're like, we actually don't even need you. You're just here to watch, because sometimes my jaw is dropping down of like the miracles that take place. It's exciting.
I've experienced everything you've just mentioned. Um, I typically call, towards the end of the session before we're over with, and we still have access to the higher self. I'll then say, are there any ascended masters, angels, spirit guides that would like to come in and say a few words to, let's just say, John? The body moves and goes through this little, gyrations. And then one particular time, John's grandmother came
Mm,
and his mouth turned sideways and he was speaking just like her. Told him that he needed to fight and he needed to um do what he knows he's capable of doing. And it was amazing to talk with this client and then talk with this client while he's accessing the quantum field in the brilliance of the higher self is at another level of conversation. But to then call in this the ascended masters, angels, whoever would like to come in and have him change that quick and go to the grandmother dialect
mm,
was fascinating.
yeah. You
You
know,
know,
yeah, and it's funny because there's a saying that says if you get the healing that you ask for, great. If you get the healing that you didn't think you could ask for, even better, right? Because some of the times these healings can be quite profound. And I had a client who had a very close relationship with his grandmother, and his grandmother passed away. And then later he, discovered his sexual identity, that he liked men, or liked to date men. Um, and he was tortured by the fact that his grandmother could possibly see him and would be ashamed of him for
no.
being homosexual or gay or whatever. And so we were doing a healing for something else, and pop, here comes grandmother to tell him that she loves him just the way he is, and for him to continue being who he is, and not to carry the guilt of assuming that she's judging him from above, because she's doing nothing but radiating love upon him. And she wanted him to receive that without the force field of guilt around him, where he couldn't even receive the love that she had for him. And that was an unexpected part of that, to which now the levels of self-love that this person is able to experience, because now he knows that his grandmother loves him and doesn't judge him, and understands who he truly is quite a profound healing.
Absolutely marvelous. Seth, how does access to our higher conscious states through connection with our angels and the intuition, how does that empower us to create, the life we want, um, a life of purpose,
Oh,
a life that we were born to live?
yeah, great question. And well, when we do the work of connecting with our angels and spirit guides, now when I teach angel communication, I teach them in like small group classes, where I do some.
Can I join next before you? I mean, I want to
Yeah,
be in next. Okay.
yeah, yeah. I do have one coming up actually, and
Okay.
yes, no, and well, then this is the interesting thing about this.
Yes.
So the intention was to teach a class to get people to communicate with their angels like I do.
Hmm.
The last two times I needed a job, the angels told me where to go and who to call, and it was like bing bang boom. No 100 resumes online, no 50 interviews, and no waiting through 3 job offers
I
to
don't want
figure.
to. I don't want to interrupt you, but you know who did that also? Elizabeth Womack, the 12
Yeah,
Archangels. You know,
yeah,
Elizabeth. She did the same thing. If you
yeah,
watch one of her, she
yeah,
has a small little documentary on YouTube, and I love her, by the way. And that's
yeah,
why when I knew that you communicated with angels, and I was reading your bio and everything,
yeah,
yeah, I want to talk to Seph too. But Elizabeth Womack did the same. I mean, the same thing happened to her.
yeah, yeah. And it was interesting because one of the jobs that they asked me to take in between, I was doing after real estate. I went to film school and I was an actor in Los Angeles and Hollywood. And something happened in 2018, and I'm like, I get the sense that I'm not supposed to be here and doing this anymore. And I'm from Orange County, so I got this hit that I was supposed to go sell BMWs of all things. And there was a particular dealership in Orange County. I thought I'm going to go move back there. And I was guided to make one phone call to a friend, not knowing. I just said, "Hey, this is the plan." And she says, "Well, I know the sales manager on the inside." Bing, bang, boom. Next thing you know, that job that was meant to be happened. And every time something comes up, we get when we're in this sort of uh, deep state of connectivity with our angels and guides in that realm, then we're always guided right to where we want to go without the mind getting in the way and overthinking things and guiding us in 50 different directions because it doesn't know which direction we're supposed to go.
Hmm.
So, when I introduce the topic of teaching angel communication with people, the first thing I do is I say, look, it's great that angels come to us when we're in a car accident or when we lost our car keys or things like that, but they want to be with us all the time. We're meant to be fully connected to the quantum field at all times. And from that, that's where we live the most powerful life because we're guided exactly to where we're supposed to be. Well, what happened when I started teaching this class, and this was a group of people in the first class that I taught, their only motive was they wanted greater connection with their angels so they could be guided towards their purpose, and we don't worry about money anymore because we find ways of creating not a printing press, I wish, but we find ways of actually creating, or things just happen, right?
Right.
Miraculously. We have miracles happen all the time when they need to. And so people wanted access to that. But when I designed the course, I designed it through the channel. The angels told me how to create this course. And so it's 4 parts, it's 4 weeks, and it's small group coaching. Well, the second week that everyone showed up, they're like, "Oh my God, you're not going to believe the miracles that happened to me." And I'm like, oh my gosh, of course, the minute that we tap into that realm, it's meant to be that the alignment with that is going to make miraculous shifts happen. And it reminded me that, after 20 years, 20 plus years of communicating with the angels, everything happens in my life via miracles. And it's a nice, fearless state, or mostly fearless state, that we can be in. And that's what I want to get. That's what I'm being called to give to people, especially at this time when we're navigating around new events that have never happened in this world before, that we don't have history to guide us through these events. So I realized, oh my gosh, of course, that's exactly what happens when we do this. And so the just sort of increased and increased and increased. And the angels have always said to me, when you are connected from within, you're holding hands with the creator, the source of life. So it's impossible to be in an intimate relationship with the divine, the creator, and simultaneously be broke, have a health problem that you're not meant to
You are
heal,
speaking
or
now. Go ahead. Keep
or
going.
yeah, it's impossible to be connected to the divine and simultaneously be lonely, broke, and sick.
Either
Not
you are or either you're not. And if you're not, then probably those last three things that you mentioned, it's true. But let's stay there. Speaking of alignment, and I think I know that a lot of people want to really understand this. What really is alignment, and why is it so important? And you hear all the gurus, all the coaches, spiritual coaches, they'll throw the word around, but they'll never really say what is alignment and why is it important.
I love that. I love that. Well, first of all, I think as human beings, we always need a practical how to. Agreed?
Yes.
If someone says that we should do this, then show me how to do it. I mean, it seems like lately, whenever you bring home a box that needs to be put together, it's harder than ever to put together because those instructions are, how do I do this?
Right.
But the how to, and even the computer, the technology, as it keeps changing, like next thing you know, like something, updates on our phone. And now I don't know how to do the same thing that I used to do on my phone anymore. So here's the how to. And the magic is this: we are, by virtue of our awareness, we are the quantum field. We are connected to the quantum
Yes.
field. The only thing that shifts is our awareness to it or blocking our awareness to it. And we know when we are aware of it because of how we feel. The angels remind us that the physicalized universe is less than 1% physical matter. It's all energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so the feeling of emotion is energy as well. And so think of that energy, and the energy of the physicalized universe is in communication and relationships. So if we're feeling in the expanded state, we are communicating with the physicalized universe to materialize things of that particular energy signature. So when we're actually feeling safe, and that's a word that gets thrown around too much. Oh, be safe. No, don't worry about it. I'm guided by angels. I'm safe. But not just safety, but beyond that, which is that we're on a guided experience, or on a guided adventure, that we feel prosperous, that we feel healthy, that we feel fully alive. I tell people who are looking to expand their businesses, I said, when's the last time you played with Play-Doh? When's the last time you went to an art gallery and just looked at the paintings there and just felt charged up with energy? So when we feel love, or the expansive feeling in our heart, that excitement, etc. Sometimes when I do these activation events, people say, my heart is beating. Yes, it is, because of the expansive nature of that energy. But literally, just by feeling love in our hearts, we're in alignment. And if we did that consistently, when we do it consistently, we'll find that everything is going to show up in our favor all the time. So, I'll give a really good example. One time I had picked up my car from service, and I was driving it on the freeway, and it gave me this sort of, uh, warning that I was low on coolant. Well, I happened to be right near another dealership. So I pull off, and the next thing you know, the car starts to be what they call it starts to be I forget what they call it, but anyways, the car
Hot.
won't go anymore. So I pulled it off to the side. I'm literally a mile from the exit to the dealership, And I'm like, am I stuck here, or am I going to experience joy? Am I going to experience joy instead of fear? And I sat there and I just experienced joy, and I just got into joy. And of course, when I took the car in, that not only did they have a loaner car ready for me, all this kind of stuff, it was smoother than I could have possibly anticipated. So when we stay in that energy field by just staying in love and joy and high frequency emotion, that is the key to alignment right there.
That's the key to alignment, and that's why it's so important,
Yeah.
because you're able to, change your life. And
Yeah.
it's, I'm glad that you were able to articulate that. But I wanted to, before we ran out of time, because we're just going.
Lots. Yeah.
I wanted people to know how to find you, guys. www.talktomyangels.com, www.talktomyangels.com. And Seph, I'll let you go ahead and talk about the things that you're doing, the website, the wonderful things that are coming up, whatever you want to say to the audience. Go ahead and inform us on the marvelous things that you're working on.
Sure. Well, and it's cool because I'm more focused on the message as opposed to the business of my business.
Mhm.
But then that's what really keeps it in that authentic zone. So the first thing, I know that you pulled up the website, which is actually being worked on as we speak. So it's going to look a little different in a couple
Okay.
days,
Okay.
but it's okay. What I'm in the middle of creating now, and since this is evergreen content, you'll discover this. But right now, you can join my free community. And the free community is to connect people to the quantum field. So I called it the 444 charging station.
Mhm.
And that's because it literally is about getting into all of that. Now, also on the site, you'll see on the first page, you'll see an opportunity, if you want to book a session, a reading with an energy healing and balancing. You can book readings there. You can also sign up to be informed the next time I teach one of the classes. There's a sign up. There's just an email where you put your email in there so that the next time I offer the course, you'll be the first to know. And then if you want to do hypnotherapy, or any hypnotherapy, because it's so personalized, the first thing I do is just book a free session where we talk about what you want to accomplish and then go from there. I also have published the Ascension with the Angels Tarot, which is a companion with the Ascension with the Angels Tarot class that I've created.
Yes.
And it's not teaching the fortune telling aspect of tarot. It's teaching how to use tarot and the ability to communicate with our angels to expand consciousness and to begin to manifest from
Yeah.
this level of connectivity. So the website is being worked on as we speak in the next few days. Probably by the time this episode is live, all this stuff will be on the site, but you'll be able to access it directly from there.
Okay, so again, guys, www.talktomyangels.com, www.talktomyangels.com. And you said something that was very interesting. I was going to say, hey, we have to get out of here. Can you say something to the audience? But I can't let you go right now. You said something that was very interesting that that touched the nerve. And you said that at these deep levels that you experience, we're going to be working on showing people how to manifest. And I got to tell you, Seph, I've been working with transcendental meditation for a while. So I'm a TMer.
Mm, yeah.
And they are very, straightforward, and just go 20 minutes, 20 minutes. And if any thought comes up, just let it be.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about thoughts. This is what we
Yes.
want, thoughts. Then the more thoughts you have, the more stress you release. Okay.
Right.
But what I started doing is getting to transcendence. And I think you know what I'm talking about. Get into
Mm-hmm.
transcendence where you don't have the rocky water and you
Yep.
have the calm water, then you have the quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Get into transcendence and then asking questions or manifesting. And it's worked. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Can I do this in transcendental meditation?
Mhm.
Can I do this in a
Mhm.
regular meditation? You know, talk to it. Can you talk to that what I experienced versus what you just said? Not versus, but can you mesh those things together and sort of make sense of that for me and the audience?
Sure. Well, one of the things that is a way to practicalize this is that
Yes.
when someone cuts you off on the freeway, is it worth losing access to the creative power that you have within by getting upset? Certainly, it's upsetting and jolting the moment they do that. But 5 minutes later down the freeway, are we still wearing it around because it's taken us out of that level of connectivity that we have to the source of our creativity? And
Mm,
so, yes, the more the more that we practice non-resistance or transcendence on every level,
mm,
the more that we practice that, the more that our sovereignty remains consistently intact. Our sovereignty over our reality. And here's the thing to consider: if we live in a world of illusions, is the person who cut us off on the freeway, do they really exist?
no.
Or are they just a test?
They're
On
a
a, but
test.
by a test, I mean just an opportunity, because that created us doesn't test our worthiness in that sense. And but what that means is just another obstacle to overcome. And so everything that comes to us that appears difficult, and that's why there's a very powerful movement right now for people to literally pivot the way that we see everything. Something comes in and it rattles us for a minute. We go, oh, wait a minute. I know what you are. You're a blessing in disguise. And then we start saying, and what blessing is underneath that disguise? And we start looking for it. And we pivot through it much more quickly than we used to, which is amazing. So the transcendental aspect, and I love TM,
Oh man.
and yeah, anything that we can do to stay in the heightened state. And again, that's why I created the community, the 444 charging station, is because we go in. If you notice, when we have these expansive conversations with other people who
Mhm.
are capable of expansive conversations, then we get consciously high. Well, that's good because it heightens our connectivity to the field. And the more that we stay in this connectivity with others, where the conversations are of an expanded and heightened vibration, the more we stay in that, the more we stay in our sovereignty.
Mm.
And that's the whole point of creating the community, was a way of actually creating a field or access or a portal to the field so that people could come in and maintain their sovereignty by bringing all the energy, the intention that's in it, and then those that come into it and participate. Participation is via contribution and receiving. Like, we're so used to like the TV or Instagram, where we're just scrolling and wanting things to give to us, But really, when we're in this dynamic exchange, we go in and contribute. Sort of like the way that we bring our work to people, we contribute something and then we bring that miraculous aspect. There's no going into something and flipping the switch and letting it feed the power to us. We have to contribute. We have to do that kind of thing. And so that's why I created this community in this sense. But you're absolutely right. This transcendence, this sort of more um, intent around transcending everything that comes your way, there's a noticeable effect on what's showing up in our lives as well.
Yes. Last question, and this is for the audience as well, because people are saying, okay, so if I submit myself to this relationship with source,
Hmm.
um, so what are the steps for me to become more intuitive and gain access to my spiritual team, my angels,
Yes.
so what do I how do I become more intuitive? How do I gain greater access to
Yeah.
the realm
No,
and to the people who are here to help me? Because what we understand is if you are a bus driver, there's an angel that can help you with the ride doing the
Hmm.
bus. If you're in construction, there's an angel that will give you the knowledge for construction. Whatever you're in, there's an angel that has the knowledge to help you prosper and grow abundance in that particular field. So how do we become more intuitive and gain greater access to them?
Excellent question. And another, I like to go to a nice, tangible how to,
Okay.
because that way it removes the mystery and gives us something practical that we can do. And that is, it occurred to me when I started communicating with the angels, and then I encountered people whose religious beliefs would not include the possibility of being able to communicate with your angels. But I had to explain to them it didn't make sense to me why God would give me guardian angels, but I could never hear what they have to say to guide me. How can they guide me without the ability to hear their communication? And so we break through that limitation. But when we're ready, when we're absolutely ready, all we have to do is ask. And we say to our angel guidance team, I'm ready to be guided. I'm ready to be guided. And then what will happen is they will meet us. We take one tiny step to them, and they'll take a quantum leap to us. And they'll start to teach us how to communicate with them. And we might start as seeing feathers and coins, or hearing the words of a song or t-shirt that start to resonate with you. You start to see the angel numbers, the 444, the 111, which is why we have the 444 charging station. We start to see those things. And when that happens, what I don't want anyone to do who's in that state, just say, is that just a coincidence, or is that my angels talking to me? No. If you want to establish that communication, assume that every synchronicity is from them, and from that you'll be guided more and more. They can't just come in like a Hollywood special effects scene and come into our door with the draping robes and the wings, and they say, Joan, I'm here. Oh, you called me. They'll find a tangible way to get to you. And when they do, don't dismiss it. It's going to seem like a coincidence. It's going to seem like, did I dream that? Did I make that up, or whatever? It doesn't matter. Remember, you live in a world that's fully holographic and fully illusions anyways.
Mhm.
So whether you made up the grilled cheese sandwich that you're going to eat for lunch off of the truck, the lunch truck, or you made up the angel that's communicating with you, it doesn't matter at that level. But allow them to do that, and assume that anything that comes in that seems like their communication is, and it will only expand from there. It's not going to come in a full rush usually for most people, but it will, once it starts coming in those little sort of trickle forms. It's not that the level of information increases, it's that our listening to it does. And the way I would say that to sort of concretize this is, it's like the minute you hear like the faucet dripping in the kitchen, you can't not hear it anymore, because you'll always hear it. And then even once you get it fixed, now you're always listening for if there's a faucet dripping or something like that. And what happens is that your listening or your awareness is being tuned into it when you ask, and from there you will receive.
Absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
We run out of time, but I thank you, and I'm gonna move you to the back office, but I'm gonna beg back there for you to come back. So I'm gonna do my begging off camera.
Thank you, Jason, for having me, and God bless to the audience. There's
Absolutely. And
Yes, and
remember, you guys, tell them one more time the website, and let me add that again, because we want to make sure they know how to find you. And we know Seph has already said that the website is being redone. It should be ready in the next week or so. But here's the
Mhm.
website, talktomyangels.com. Make sure that you find this wonderful being of knowledge, wisdom, and love, and give him a call, and try to understand what he's trying to share.
Well, right now you can utilize the call to action button and join the community. It is up and running. It is in its infancy stage. You can join it from there, book a session. The cards in the class are going to be online again soon, but you can reach out to me through the site. But yeah, talk to myangels.com, and any way that I can help, that'd be great. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So once don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Whew. I try to find the people who can bring you the most, who are able to articulate the things that can help you move ahead, get ahead, improve your life, change your mindset, whether it be using hypnosis, whether it be using some sort of um, mindset course, whether it be using meditation to relax your anxiety. Learning to communicate with our angels is important. Spirit guides, loved ones, and just building our intuitive alignment can really, really, really make a difference in your life. Now, I'm going to develop a more stronger relationship with my angel, my spirit guides, uh, and descend past loved ones who could possibly be your spirit guide. And it happens a whole lot. I was speaking with a lady while we were doing a session, and she found out that her husband was her spirit guide. Absolutely amazing. I hope that you had a great time. I hope that you learned something tonight. And I want to leave you with 3 words, the same 3 words I always leave with: relax, trust, and discover. Thank you very much, and good night.